Hi everyone, so I hope you're doing well this morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever time it is for you. I've just got back from a trip, so I thought I'd do some advice for travel hacks and traveling on a budget, tips on saving money, that sort of thing. As always, please do like and subscribe. And I do have quite a few other travel videos also, so the links will be below or above me, and have a look at them. All right, so often we know that the early morning flights are the cheapest flights. So if you have a flight that leaves at 6 a.m. or something, that is a similar time you're on like the first flights of the day. My tips for that would be to prepare as much as possible and check your airline's measurements for the bags if you're able to check online or through the app, especially if you're just using hand luggage. That will save you a lot of time at the airport. Also, for and when you're actually on the flight, it's a really good idea to have earplugs. It's a good way to make sure you're not disturbed by any other passengers as well. One other thing for traveling on a budget, if you are staying in hostels or places where, for example, you're with a lot of other people for a lot of the time, is a good idea to use a luggage padlock and just padlock your stuff for when you're not using it or when you're not in your room. Obviously, there are some other safety tips that go without saying, like put your stuff in different places, use a hider. So I'll show you what I mean by that actually. One of these things that I use is really good because you are able to put your stuff in this. So you put your valuables, things like your IDs, credit cards in something like this, and to another person, it doesn't look as though there's anything in it. But you see here, yeah. So like I've got one that's a suntan lotion, but there's other ones that look like bottles. I hadn't seen that one before with a clock, but that's pretty imaginative. Like it depends how big you want it to be, like how much stuff you want to put in it. Those are also pretty good as well. All of the links for this will be on my Facebook pages, so do have a look at the Travel with Howard or Thrifty Surrey Facebook pages. You'll be able to buy them from there. So the other things, again, with liquids, make sure that your liquids in hand luggage are 100 mils or less. If you need bottles, let's say if you have a favorite shampoo and your favorite shampoo is in a 500 ml bottle, what you're able to do is put 100 milliliters of that into a see-through bottle, and then you will be able to take that on the plane. Because remember, if you are traveling with hand luggage only, you won't be able to then take anything that's more than 100 milliliters away with you. So that's the one disadvantage of hand luggage only fares. But if yeah, like say you just don't want to buy the miniature bottles, again, on my Facebook page, I do sometimes have links to samples, and free samples of products are great for traveling because they're always less than 100 milliliters anyway. So, let's say, for example, you just don't want to buy like the travel miniatures you see in Boots or Superdrug, then one good option is just to pour your existing toiletries into these bottles, and that will then let you use your favorite things, but also travel with hand luggage only or use them while you're on the plane if you do need to. The other thing for hand luggage is do check the measurements, because every budget airline seems to have slightly different measurements and rules on what you're able to take, especially if you just have the basic fare. You haven't purchased one of the deals where you get the larger hand luggage bag included, like for example with Ryanair, the Priority and two bags. You are also able to buy one of their standard or not business, but plus fare, that does include that. Same with EasyJet Flexi, it does include anyway. But I think if you have EasyJet Plus or Speedy Boarding, one of the upfront seats, that does also include. So you wouldn't need to add it separately if you're traveling on one of those fares. But do check, because every airline does seem to have decent rules. As far as I know, the only sort of British or European airlines that let you take the bigger trolley bag on board at no additional price is Jet2 and BA. British Airways do let you, everyone has the larger bag and a personal item for free. Like the legacy airlines are still doing that, as far as I know. Like LOT Polish Airlines, the national airline for, say, Spain, like Iberia. As far as I know, they do still allow, but the budget airlines seems to have just all stopped doing that. I might have another video on advice for that also, so do check that out too. Again, transfers. So one way that I use for saving money on transfers, so getting to or from the airport, is again booking in advance. Sometimes that's cheaper. If you're using National Express, check your bank, because they often have a deal where you get a percent, either 5 or 10% refunded through your bank. Or I use Curve. Also, I have, for example, here, they often have an offer for saving, say, normally it's between 5 and 10% of your National Express fare, and that's generally cheaper than the train. So that's normally what I'd suggest. And the great thing about that is that you can put, it doesn't matter if, say, you have a Barclays card or, say, Halifax MasterCard, you're able to put them all onto your app and then spend with whichever one that you want to. It's a really good way to do. Also, they have their other deals going on, like you get 1% back at certain shops and a free £5 with my link. I'll put it down below as well. And when you're spending abroad, so say euros, zloty, dollar, whatever it is, Monday to Friday, there's no fees for that. So yeah, and then if you're using a rewards credit card on top of that, you'll get both deals. So you get the money back from Curve and also the rewards from whatever it is you're using. You're just not able to add an American Express to it, but any Visa, MasterCard, it will add. And you're able to pay with that, even though the retailer thinks you're paying with Curve. So it's a really good idea. It's like fronting another one behind it. So there's loads of other powerful tools as well, like going back in times. If you accidentally charge the wrong one, you're able to go back and then charge it the amount to a different card instead, or an anti-embarrassment mode. So if your selected one doesn't have enough money on it, then it will charge a reserve, a card that you have in reserve instead as well. And there's other things like you're able to send money to friends pretty easily on it, a bit like Revolut. But the main advantage for traveling is that you do get the no foreign fees Monday to Friday. It converts it to pounds so that your British bank thinks that you're spending in pounds when actually you're not. It is also available for people in the US, Europe, and some other places as well. So that's another reason that it's pretty good. You're able to do a few other things on it too, depending what plan you have. But I believe the basic plan is free. They have some like other premium plans that you do need to pay for, unfortunately. But if you travel a lot, you may get that money back in savings anyway. That's certainly what I found. It has some other tricks like airport lounge access, travel insurance on the premium plans too. So like the premium plans, you might get the money back through all of your savings anyway. That's what I found. I think if you spend abroad on Saturdays and Sundays, there is a small fee that it charges, but it's a really small percentage. I think it's around 1 or 2% that they charge. So it's certainly less than what, say, most other banks would charge you for spending abroad. It's just because they don't know the exact rate it will be when the markets are shut over Saturday and Sunday, so they have to put a small percent on just to make sure that, like, say the rate suddenly got worse, that the bank wouldn't be worse off. That's all. But it's definitely not much. Even on a weekend, I don't believe the fee is very much for spending abroad. It's still a pretty decent rate. It's a bit like Revolut does the same thing. If you do spend abroad Saturdays and Sundays, then I think they put like around a 1.5% fee on it, something like that, but it's still a pretty decent exchange rate that you're getting from it. So yeah, check all of the offers like online on your apps, to really see if you, even if you've already got the best price, maybe you can get some cashback or rewards on top of that. So those would be my travel on a budget tips. If you're wondering where I just went to, it was Poland on a trip with Angloville. They're really good because you get a free holiday, but a working holiday in exchange for your English skills. So if you are a native English speaker, then you're able to get involved. Say you're from Britain, Ireland, the US, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. They might also consider some other places to be. And they have trips mostly in Eastern Europe, so places like Poland, Hungary, Romania. And your accommodation for the duration of the stay and meals for the duration is provided by them. They do also have some scholarships available, and you'll be expected to help participants prepare a presentation, speak to them about different topics in English, obviously, do some group activities, debates, discussions, do some role plays, negotiations, for example. You'll be expected to get involved in most of these activities, but there is some free time for everyone, and also some free time that's for you. So for example, for the group activities, they don't need all participants to be there, because it only needs, say, one native speaker for up to 2, 3, 4 Polish or wherever it is participants. So the rest of the native speakers, that does then give you a break. So not everyone is always working 24/7. That's one good thing. And you do get a free tour of whatever city you're in, or what the nearest city is as well. You just need to be, so the things you have to pay for are your flights, like the first few days and then the one last day at the end, and your meals for those first few days when you're in the location. That's pretty much all you would need to be paying for. Oh, and apart from travel insurance, but I do have some deals for you if you don't already have like a premium plan with Revolut or Curve. If you do, then like for example, I have the premium, the black plan with Curve, and that does have my travel insurance on it, and Angloville were happy to accept that. So those are generally like traveling to or from the airport in your home country, but those were generally the only things that you would need to pay for, unless you choose to arrive earlier or stay later than the program to explore. And like obviously any meals are provided, but if you do want any snacks outside of those meals, or any drinks outside of that, like in the bar, then you would need to pay for that. If you need any laundry doing while you're there, you do also need to pay for that. But besides those incidental expenses, there's not a lot. So it's a pretty good deal for exchanging your time. And you do meet some very interesting people, like other natives and people in the place that you're staying as well. So those are my tips for free or budget travel. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, do like and subscribe. Send me a message if there's anything you want particularly, and I'll be back soon with another video. In the meantime, there are lots more travel videos, lots more investing tips that you can see, and stay in touch on my Facebook pages too. So I hope that you have a good rest of your day or evening, whatever time it is for you. and I will be back soon with another video. If you have any requests about a specific type of video you want me to make, then do drop a comment below, or send me a message through Facebook. Either way is fine. But I hope you found the video useful, got some tips from it, and I'll be back soon with another video.